President Trump issuing a warning to California's Governor Gavin Newsom: fix your state's homeless crisis or there will be federal intervention. Here with more now, Fox News correspondent Christina Coleman. Christina.
Hi, Charles. Well, President Trump is essentially saying enough is enough when it comes to the chronic homelessness crisis in this state. Today, Trump also blasted House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over this, tweeting, quote, "Nancy Pelosi's district in California has rapidly become one of the worst anywhere in the U.S. when it comes to the homeless and crime. It has gotten so bad, so fast, she has lost total control. And along with her equally incompetent governor, Gavin Newsom, it is a very sad sight." Trump's warning comes after the Department of Housing and Urban Development report shows the nation's recent overall 2.7% rise in homelessness was caused by a 16.4% increase here in California with its homeless population. This latest HUD report analyzes data from 2018. California leads the nation in the number of homeless people with an estimated total over 129,000 in January of 2018. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom has been saying HUD and the Trump administration is playing politics when it comes to addressing this crisis. Newsom says the state is doing more than ever to tackle chronic homelessness and that California has invested $1 billion to help communities fight this problem. But he says the federal government needs to step up and do more.
I imagine if you're President of the United States, any leader like myself feels a deep sense of responsibility to address some of the most vexing issues in the country. We've asked the Trump administration for the one thing that he can do specifically, and that's address the fair market rent issue and help us support with vouchers additional resources so we can get people housed. The president can do a hell of a lot more.
Yesterday, Trump didn't specify how the feds might intervene, and as of right now, Governor Gavin Newsom hasn't addressed Trump's warning, but we did reach out to the governor's office for a response, so we're waiting to hear back. Charles?
All right, Christina, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, for more on this, I want to bring in Democratic strategist Laura Fink, along with Fox News contributor Deneen Borelli. Deneen, you know, it's not just California. California's number one. New York is number two. Washington is number 5. Massachusetts is number 6. Oregon is number 7. You know, I think it's a shame because, you know, these are very wealthy places. And for Gavin Newsom to place the blame on D.C., it seems a little disingenuous to me.
It's totally disingenuous, Charles. And listen, what President Trump is doing is exposing just how bad Democrat policies are, especially for these big cities. With them is politics over people. The president targeted Gavin Newsom, who's more concerned about climate change initiatives. Nancy Pelosi, who's more concerned with holding on to that gavel and trying to impeach President Trump. It's politics over people. This is an issue that they have been ignoring for many, many years, and it just continues to get worse.
Laura, so essentially it seems like Gavin is saying or suggesting that that the federal administration helped people pay their rent instead of finding out, you know, what happens. Why is there such a disparity? By the way, I think California by far has the highest income inequality problem in this country.
Absolutely. We have an income inequality problem, and we have across the country, and California is no exception. And we have a housing crisis. I'm from California, and I'll tell you, this isn't about politics. It's not about calling people out and blame. We have a Republican mayor in San Diego. It's a gentleman that I've worked with over the course of years. This is a durable problem that has to do with the cost of housing in California, and it's about access to services. So it really isn't helpful just to call it out and do nothing about it. I think what President Trump should do is form partnerships to really address this problem. Imagine if you would have said the same thing about the opioid crisis in Ohio or West Virginia. I mean, you don't just attack the leaders and do nothing.
But if the problem is created because of high taxes, extraordinarily high regulations, like how much does it cost to build a home in California versus, let's say, Alabama?
It is about creating housing stock, and it's also about giving developers incentives to build housing that workers can afford. So to your point, we have wage inequality, which means wages aren't keeping up with the cost of living, and the cost of living is increasing too quickly, and housing is a huge part of that. So yes, ensuring that we increase the stock of housing is an issue. It's also about wraparound services. In San Diego, 1 out of 10 people that are homeless are veterans. It's PTSD, it's mental health issues, it's substance abuse, all folded into one. And you have to look at it, you know, as a multi-layered problem. President Trump isn't doing that. He's just calling out blame and using political opportunity here instead of tackling the problem.
It's a heartbreaking thing, though, because Charles, the whole nation went down 14.
Mentioned,
Go ahead.
Yeah, mention incentives. How about cutting taxes? How about cutting spending? And Charles also mentioned the regulations that are harmful to businesses. That would be helpful as well, because they could reinvest the money that they're able to save in their businesses to hire people. You have companies that are fleeing California because of big government policies, high taxes, regulations, and so you got to start there as well.